I'm celebrity makeup artist Kim Lee. I'm also a national brand ambassador. I'm a women's health advocate, a best-selling author, a teacher, a mom, a pastor. And yes, I wear lots of hats right here in the DMV. And I'm so happy to be here at 202 Creates to share my story about my dream, my vision, and everything I do every day. I have a beautiful makeup line that I actually sell called WinkNPout. I'm excited to tell you that I'm the first African-American beauty brand to be at the MGM hotels. And so I'm really, really grateful for that opportunity because I help women to create a fast face with a Hollywood finish. And I even wrote about it in my book called Brain Beauty. And what I realized is that women like to cover it up instead of clearing it up. So I teach women how to look beautiful from the inside out. So I deal with the mind, the body, and the soul, and all the beauty of it. Because remember, ladies, it starts here and it starts there. And I got with me today, I'm so excited to have with me Lesley Bryant. They call her Lady Clipper. What's up, Lesley?
Hey, Kim. Thank you for that introduction. I'm Lesley, the Lady Clipper, and I am so happy to be here today. I am the owner, founder of the Lady Clipper Barbershop. We are the first and only barbershop in the United States to have a staff of all female women of color in the United States. It's a shame that it's taken this long for this to happen. My vision and my purpose for coming up with this was to really shed a beacon of light, to be a beacon of light for women in the barbering, in the hair industry that felt that they didn't have a place. I'm very happy to be here, Kim, and to share and talk about both of our accomplishments. And let's just go in and talk about how did you choose this industry?
Well, Lesley, I chose this industry. It actually chose me. I was working at a family-owned business. We owned a beauty salon in DC, right on Rhode Island Avenue for over 20 years. And while I was in college, I used to work there on the weekends. And I remember a bride coming into the salon and my cousin saying, Kim, can you put a little makeup on? And back then, when I put, this is over 27 years ago, I put a little bit of makeup on her. And we had makeup that we sold in the salon by another African-American brand. And we didn't have brushes. We didn't do contour. I didn't do lashes or anything like that. And I literally was putting her makeup on with my fingers as sponge tip applicators, like kind of feeling my way through it, like I think a lot of women do in beauty. And I spun her around to the mirror and she started to cry. And I was like, oh my God, I just ruined this lady's face. She's going to be so upset with me. But when all true actuality, she said, I've never looked more beautiful. And it was my aha moment, Lesley, because I realized at that time that there were women who wanted to look beautiful and never thought that they could. And I had the goods. Like, I was like, I can't believe I did your face. And you started crying. And I remember going back to my classroom because at the time I was a student at Georgetown Law. I had just graduated from college. And I was going to Georgetown Law, thought I was going to be an entertainment attorney. And I never forgot that moment. And right pressed between my civil procedures books was the Vogue magazine and the Elle magazine and Jet magazine and Ebony and Essence and all those books because I was so intrigued by beauty. And I think it was because my family owned a salon. And so to answer your question, beauty found me. I think that I ran from it because I thought that, being an attorney was the safe route. And I realized later on, now, it's 2020 vision for me. It's so clear. It's like, God allowed all of those instances to come my way. And I'm still making women cry 27 years later. So I think that I'm in the right place, Lesley.
I think you are. My story is pretty similar as far as the industry picking me. I was a graphic designer for about 7-10 years and always involved with the art world. And I love everything beautiful, all beautiful things. And my company merged with another one. And there were lots of layoffs and just the merger just sort of was rocking everybody's world. And so I decided that I was going to take, my severance check and figure out what really my passion was. I had been doing that for about 10 years and I loved graphic design, but it just felt like doing design in the corporate setting was not really feeding my soul. So on a visit to the barbershop to get my haircut, my barber asked me, okay, what's your next step? Since you're not working, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to take the severance check. I'm going to go hang out on the beach and I'm going to figure out my life. He said, well, just become a barber. You have a great personality. You know, there's, in the DC area, they're not a whole lot of lady barbers really to the forefront. You can really make a difference. Just think about it. I had never touched a clipper. I had never faded a person. I had no background in the hair industry. And just by him saying that, it was an inspiration that, somebody older that really knew you, who knows you better than your barber, your makeup artist, to really see something in me. Right away, I enrolled in school and met my instructor was actually a lady barber as well. And we hit it off and she taught me everything she knew. And I fell in love with the craft and there's no looking back now.
Wow, that's so exciting, Lesley, because I think that I even found this out through pandemic when I was trying to pivot. I think that whole pivot piece is something that's so interesting with women because we wear so many different hats and our lives take so many different turns. I think a lot of times there are women who just are afraid to pivot. I'm excited that you decided to pivot into something different, even though you were forced. But I'm excited that you decided to do that. I think it's so dope that you have an all-female staff. I saw that on your website and I was like, yes, I too used to hire only women because I felt that, it was just like dope to have an all-girl band. You know what I mean? It's like, I got an all-girls band. And so I think that's really exciting. So how long have you been a barber?
Give or take about 10 years. The shop has actually been open for 5 years. And my barbers are probably the best in the city, just bubbling and loving and inclusive in the mindset and great listeners. And really, that's what I think it takes to really do the job the right way. Anybody can cut hair, but not everybody can follow directions.
For sure, yeah. And I think that, you having a newfound love for the beauty industry, I think is so dope and then you were able to pull in a whole team of women to be able to work with you. I think that takes a whole lot of courage and I just really congratulate you. Now, let me ask you this. Who was your inspiration? Because you kind of fell into this business. So did you have any barbers or female barbers who inspired you?
Oh, there were so many. As I was trying to get connections in the industry early on and really reach out to other people in the industry, there was one barber in particular. She goes by Rock Candy. She's out of Connecticut.
Wow.
And she is, at the time, I believe she had like a small barbershop and a sort of a sneaker store in the mall. So she was able to combine, her love for shoes and funky sneakers and cutting. And I still to this day admire her skill and just her passion for the craft. So although we're in the same industry, we're probably around the same age. She's been doing it probably twice as long as I have.
Cool.
So Kim, do you have any anybody that has inspired you into makeup? I know that, that one experience changed things for you, but is there somebody whose style or something like that inspires you?
Absolutely. So when I started working in the beauty industry, I was kind of thrown into a celebrity VIP kind of world by Derek Rutledge, because Derek Rutledge is a family friend and he's a well-known makeup artist who also is a DMV. He lives here in the DMV and he is now doing Oprah. He did Michelle Obama, but back then he was lead makeup artist at BET and I was his assistant. And I know you're like, how did you go from law school to being an assistant at BET? It was a real quick transition. And I think that's kind of how life happens sometimes with people. Like, as soon as you say yes to the challenge, it's like doors just start opening, right? And I met him at a family cookout. He was friends with a cousin. And I told him, I said, I did this lady's makeup. And she started crying. I'm telling him the story. And he just said, you know what? I'm looking for an assistant at BET. And I'm like, an assistant? Like, what would I do? Because I'm in law school. So I'm like, what would I do? Like, how would I assist you? And how could this really be a career? And so I was able to really learn the business of makeup through Derek. And I'm so grateful to him for that, because I never knew that makeup artistry was a career other than the TV makeup artists that we would see in movies. When you watch the credits roll, you see makeup. And I was thinking only special effects. Never could somebody really make a living out of this. Now, mind you, this is before YouTube, before we had Google, before we had any of that. So I didn't even have a library book, if you will, that I could go to. So a live living person was my inspiration. And I was able to sit with him every single day, Lesley, and really glean from him. And I watched him, go on tours, and I would fill in for him at BET. So he was touring with Patti LaBelle and Shaka Khan, and I had to fill in. And I remember, this is a really cool story for somebody to start off their business. I remember him telling me that I was going to cover for him. And this particular show back in the day was called Teen Summit. And it was all males on the show. So he was like, it's going to be easy. Don't worry. It's Cisco. It's Cisco and that group, right? So I was like, all right, cool. So Cisco kind of my complexion. So I think I got his foundation, and I had to get all the guys' foundations. But the moral of this story is that I was so interested in getting this real dope, expensive makeup case versus getting the product that was needed. And I tell young artists this all the time. I'm like, girl, it don't matter what that case look like. If you ain't got what's in the bag, if you ain't got the goods in the bag, it doesn't even matter. You can bring your pocketbook with products in it. But if you bring a full case and you don't have the products in it, you can't do the job. So my dad was really instrumental in helping me, believe it or not. Derek and my dad, they were like, my dad said, go to Home Depot and get you a toolbox and fill your kit up with, quality products. So I learned a lot from him so early. And when people ask me how I got into the industry, I kind of feel like I had a little cheat sheet, because I was able to sit with Derek every day at BET. And then when he wasn't there, because he greenlit me, so early on in my career, it was like, Kim does no wrong. Like, this is who's doing you. I'm on tour, and this is who's going to do you. And so I learned through one of the industry's best. And right now, he's still doing makeup. He's still dope. He's still doing all of, the A-listers. And I'm just happy to say that I've been able to do a lot of people. A lot of open doors have happened because of my inspiration, which is Derek Rutledge.
Fantastic. That is wonderful.
Yeah, he's pretty dope. So Lesley, I want to know how you were able to navigate through a male-inspired industry, because even with makeup, it's male-inspired. So how are you able to kind of maneuver through that?
Well, I wouldn't call it a maneuver. I kind of bust the door down. You know what I mean? A lot of times, I was working in a shop with 5 other males before I opened my own. And I worked there for about 3 years. And I was able during that time to sort of understand the landscape of the barbershop. It's a place where guys go and talk about, cars and sports and women and, all the things they should not be doing sometimes. They tell their secrets and stuff like that. And so I realized how my presence affected the environment instantly. So sometimes the guys would whisper about things, but, when I came into work, or, they'd be like, oh, I don't want to say this because she's here. Or they would enter the shop and say, ask, the barber to my left or my right, who were male, and say, can she cut? I never had a woman touch me. I don't know if a woman can cut me. They would say sometimes insulting things. I knew that I couldn't be the only barber or female barber out here that has experienced that. I have pretty thick skin, so stuff like that doesn't really bother me. But I knew, if I were to do this myself, I'm going to do it so that the environment is ultra inclusive of all people, women are comfortable coming there. People from the LGBTQIA plus, they're comfortable. And we're going to give you what you want, you know? So I was able to dominate because I actually made it a thing to do the exact opposite of what I was seeing in the all male shop. And so the blueprint, all I did was flip it. And it really, you know, has paved the way for my success. You know, I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I just flipped the wheel, you know?
I love it. I think that's so dope because, you know, everything we need it's right inside of us. I think that a lot of times people don't realize, you know, how much they have in them. And like you said, I mean, it's already in you to know how to do a barbershop because you watched the blueprint, you just flipped it. And I love how you just said, you know what, I'm not going to try to reinvent this. I'm just going to do it. I think one of the things with business in the beauty industry has been such a challenge for all of my years of being in, I mean, I'm going on 3 decades. I think one of the downsides of being in the beauty industry is that I see so many of my friends not have their business and affairs in order. And I know if you got a dope shop like you got, it required that you get your proper licensing, that you did the things that were necessary, like get your LLC and all of that. Talk to us a little bit about how you walked through that process coming from, you know, a more corporate setting into the beauty world and how you help your staff.
So I definitely think coming from the corporate setting, it helped me to understand the importance of having your business affairs in line and the dangers of not doing so. You know, I knew right away if I was going to do this on my own, that I would need a good accountant and a good lawyer. And those were the 2 things I had to figure out, how can I afford this? Because not having those things, in the end, if anything were to go wrong, I would be in a bad situation. And that's not a place I ever want to be in. So I knew that part going in, and that was something I learned from corporate America. You know, save the money, cover yourself, make sure that you're not biting off too much than you can chew, that type of thing. Licensing, really a lot of research on my own I had to do. Barbering school, they kind of give you the basics so you can go and take the test. And so, you do your 1,500 hours, you practice on the side, pay the money, you take the test, you pass the test. But what's really important is to make sure that your financial affairs, your accounting is accurate. So you can actually know, am I really being successful in this? Or am I putting out more than I'm actually bringing in? Yeah. And I also explain that to my staff. Like, you could be the best barber out here, and you can love the craft all day long. But if you are not, you cannot feed your lifestyle. If you cannot grow, if you cannot travel, if you cannot do the things that you want to do freely, this profession is going to get old, any profession. So to keep you in love with this, you have to put the things in place early so that you can go and lay on the beach all day, or, you know what I mean? You can have that downtime. And I wish a lot of these barbering schools did teach the business of barbering, or the business of the beauty business, with as much intensity as they teach the skill. Absolutely. And, to your point, I, long before I started teaching makeup, I had come up with, it was called, I did this years ago, Lesley. It was called 6 Steps to 6 Figures. I did years ago. And I did how to become a 6-figure. No, it was called 6 Steps to How to Become a 6-Figure Makeup Artist. And this was when I was making 6 figures. And I was like, this is something that I learned from law school, the importance of contracts. Like for us with makeup, you're doing somebody every day. With you have, reoccurring customers. We do as well, but not as often as frequent. And so what happens is that you have to establish some systems. You have to put some systems in place, which is what I was able to do. So I really helped a lot of makeup artists back in the early days with this. It was like a DVD. It was like an instructional DVD. You downloaded all of the forms. So if you did model release forms, or if you were, doing a wedding, were you protected? It also protected you from any kind of
adverse effects from, product usage. So I really wanted to help makeup artists to be able to do that. Fast forward, I ended up having or establishing a beauty academy called the WinkNPout Academy. And I could not believe, 20 plus years later, I did that 20 years ago, but 20 plus years later, when I did the academy, Lesley, how many artists still did not have their affairs in order with the age we're living in of Google, right? And YouTube, which, now it's no excuse as to why we can't rely on the school to teach us what YouTube can. You know what I mean? It's like, I learned so much from experience is the best teacher. I learned you show up to do 8, bridesmaids and only 3 end up wanting to get done. If you don't have a system in place or a contract in place, then you're going to go home with, 3 faces worth of money, not 8. And many of us have already pre-spent that money. We've already, I've already got my car note in my head. Now gas prices are high. I got to put some gas in my car. We've not planned for that. And so I really am a huge artist advocate, Lesley, to help artists to establish their systems. And what I'm realizing is that everybody's system is different because there's so many aspects of makeup. I don't think people realize you can go from being in an agency to having a manager, a management team. You could be, and when I say agency, I mean like people who do, like when people see my work, they're like, how are you able to do all these things? Because I had an agent in an agency. So I was able to do the milk commercial and all of these big, McDonald's commercials and all this stuff. And then I went into the union where I was able to have a union rep to represent me. And so they negotiated a lot of my stuff for me. And so when I did movies like Avengers and, I did Jumping the Broom with, and all of these other big movies with Angela Bassett and Whitney Houston, the union did that. My agency did the paperwork, but when you have a freelance artist, which is category number 3, which is most of the DMV artists who are doing, I call red carpet effects, where you go to somebody's house, you do their makeup, they're going to their 50th birthday or a prom or whatever. You got to have a contract in place because you don't have an agent or a union fighting for you. And so that's very, very important. And unfortunately, we live in a town where you don't have maybe a lot of that entertainment industry available, like maybe New York or LA, but you still have opportunity. But opportunity won't come again if you don't have your systems in place, because you're going to, like you said, you're going to get worn out. It's like, if I don't have a contract to protect me, I can go from 6 figures to 5 real quick because I don't have my business in order. And I think that, that's so important. So in addition to licensing, like you said, and having some systems in place for those that freelance and move around a bit, I also think for me, Lesley, and you can speak to this, but marketing for me was huge too, and from a business perspective, because it's more than just talent. We're in an information age now. So I found that my marketing had to step up. It was more than just word of mouth now. Now I had to get on social media and do some tutorials. I had to, sell myself, when the entertainment industry already knows who I am, but the average person is like, I'm being inundated with artists coming on my feed. So who are you? So I find myself have to constantly upgrade our marketing tactics so we can keep up, with the ever growing beauty industry. What are some of the things that you're doing from a marketing perspective to keep your salon relevant?
First of all, that marketing is key. Branding is key. I come from a branding background. So right off the top, I knew I had to have a look. I had to get people to understand my symbol with just one look to understand what we're doing. 2, marketing wise, it's a everyday thing. Every day, whether it's on Instagram, you're sharing a picture, or clients sometimes want to know what kind of coffee you drink. You know what I mean? You just have to continuously engage so that people continue to tune in, especially with now like these, the algorithms on Instagram and Facebook, where you do it once in a while, only a handful of people are going to see it. And if people don't know you, Like they say, your network is your net worth. If
That's
people
right.
don't know you, they don't see you. How do they know what you're capable of? And so marketing is key. Also too, when you get to the point where you can afford help, you get a PR person to really get the word out as well. You also, that stuff takes time, but you have to budget for that, right? And you have to not be afraid to invest in that. You can't invest in the newest, like you said, brushes and clippers just because something new came out. You might need to pay your like you said, your agent or your social media person to do it if you can't on a daily basis. So staying relevant and current and marketing yourself daily, even when it's scary, is so important.
Yeah, I love the relevancy of your business because I was looking at it and it's so fresh and it's young, and that's how I stay relevant too. But I keep young people around me, y'all. Let me just be clear. I'm a woman of a certain age, right? And I keep a young staff around me all the time because and I keep some mature artists as well on staff, but I really like my younger staff because they really help me to stay in the know, because there are so many products that are out and so many things that, people love. And I think that it's important that even me as a seasoned artist, that I share that. So that's part of my marketing tactic actually, is to share what I love, like even down to what I'm eating. Like, what am I eating? Like I just had a peel done the other day on my face. It's part of the beauty industry. And I was like, oh my God, I got to do this interview today. And I got this peel on my face. And so, I went through this process with my followers and they love it. And even though it's not a service that I offer, but it's part of who I am,
Mm-hmm.
and it's part of how I stay relevant. I'm not going to suggest you do anything that I have not done. So, it's funny because I always like to share. And I think that people think you have to have this exuberant marketing budget, to be successful. And what I'm finding, even through pandemic, Les, is that people really fell in love with people, right? We realized the importance of how much people matter, and that we have depended upon in touch, relationship, and we weren't able to have that. So we had to talk to people. We had to call people. We had to Zoom. We had to look at ourselves. And, I think that just us falling back in love with ourselves during pandemic has helped people tremendously. They could just be raw and be themselves, and it was cool. And it's so, there's a product that I have in my line, Lesley, that did so well during pandemic, and it was birthed out of just not having accessibility to my manufacturer. Like I didn't have a way to be able to get the product shipped in. Bottles were non-existent in the United States. So I had to call another one of my friends who was a well-known hair guru. Every store you go with, her product is on the shelf. So I called her. Remember, your network is your net worth. Correct. So I realized the value in her. She has products on, in 50 different doors, Walmart, Target, all of those places. And I was like, how can I get my product to continue to sell? And she said, and she told me exactly the steps to do it. She said, you're going to have to order a bottle that doesn't look like your bottle, you're going to have to change your packaging a little bit. And then when you're able to get back to your manufacturer, you'll go back, but you don't stop, And so I had to pivot again.
I'm about to say that's the power of the pivot. Get creative.
I got somebody to create this really cool formula for me, all natural formula for a makeup remover. And I sold thousands of bottles of this makeup remover during pandemic, during one of probably the worst times of our country's existence was when we were non-existent in the workspace. And people were buying that makeup remover. It was crazy. And they weren't wearing makeup, because not only did it remove makeup, but it removed dirt, pollen, and all of the free radicals that was polluting the air, one of which we thought was COVID. We didn't know where it was coming from, but either way, it was a face cleaner, and it was just what people needed. And I think that, us creating systems and giving people, meeting a need, I think that is a key in having a business is being able to be relatable and dependable to our customer. Tell me something that you can't live without. I know for me, our brand, we cannot go without this beauty brand, this makeup remover. It's called Be Gone. If we shut our business down today, my customers would be mad because they'd be like, I can't live without this product. Tell us something that you can't live without. Like, I love hearing what other entrepreneurs like can't live without.
For me, well, first of all, I feel like I can't live without your makeup remover because I got to order some because there's so many on the market and some of them do better than others, but I'm going to try it out, Kim. For me, what can I not live without? I love the Babyliss clippers. I love the look. I love how quiet they are. I like just the speed at which I can complete my cuts. It really helps me to complete and move through the day swiftly. The charge lasts long. I would say those Babyliss clippers, I pretty much only cut with that brand. And I know that the clipper doesn't make the barber, but the clipper can make the barber's job a little bit easier. So I really love that Babyliss Pro clipper. Yep. Oh, well, nice. I have a question, Kim.
Okay.
For you. If you could choose a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, wow. A superpower. What is my superpower? I think my superpower is that I'm flexible, I'm pliable. Back in the day, there was a cartoon that was out, and it was called the Wonder Twins. And they would always take the shape and form of, one was like always an animal and the other one was always take the form of water. And I thought that was so cool because the whole premise of that show was that they were able to form into other things to achieve the goal. And I think that for me, my superpower is that I'm pliable. I can form, I can maneuver, I can morph, I can shift. And I think that that's so important to have that as a superpower, because you will be powerless if you are not willing to take the risk of moving. Sometimes you just got to move. Sometimes you just got to jump. Sometimes you just got to shift. You got to change, and I think that is my biggest superpower. I learned this superpower from working with icons. I actually, Lesley, said to myself years ago, I said, all I want to do is work with icons. Like, I don't care what the arena is. I want you to be, if you're an iconic barber, I want to work with you. If you're iconic in, the .com space, I want to work with you. Like, I want to work with the best of the best in whatever space. It didn't have to be, entertainment or sports, but whoever I work with. And God has allowed that to happen, which is so dope, because I like to know how these people recreate themselves. And part of that is being pliable, is being able to morph into other things and stretch every part of your gifts in every area of your life. I think people think they're one-dimensional, but you realize, Lesley, after you were in the creative space of doing graphics, that your creativity didn't stop at a computer, but that your hands continue. And now I can cut hair and be creative. I can build a team and create that. I can build wealth and create that. And so I think that people kind of get into a rut, Lesley, that they feel that they can't move. And so, that's my superpower. I watch other people with great superpowers, and I watch icons be pliable. I think that is like the dopest thing ever. I mean, we've watched Janet, we've watched Madonna, we've watched all of these iconic people, Beyonce, recreate themselves. Even sports figures, they go from playing to selling product to owning things. Like, it's bigger than just the sport, but it is everything that you can put your hands on to extend yourself. So yeah, I think my superpower.
I think the key to what you just said is understanding that movement is important. It is important to not stay in the same place, even if you're not sure which way you want to go. With my story, like I said, when I got laid off, I knew I needed peace, right? I needed time to really reflect on what my next move was, but I knew there was going to be a move in place. I'd have to figure it out. And like you said, you wanted to work with these celebrities. You wanted to be with anybody who's the best of the best. And those people became the best because they didn't have the fear to try.
Yeah.
And everybody had the first time. Everybody has a nervous moment, but if you don't try something new, how do you know if you're going to be good at it or not? How you could be the best at something that you haven't even tried yet. So try a lot of things, and see where things land. Great. You gave great advice a few minutes ago about that. Like, that was very inspirational.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Do you have a signature style as far as like how you apply makeup? Is there a favorite? Do you like the smoky eye? Like, what is there a certain lip color that you prefer? I have a favorite, but I was just interested to see if there's like one method in makeup that is your favorite to do, or you have
I'm known in the beauty industry. I am a beauty guru. And I know people like, well, that's what everybody does with makeup. Not true. So I am a glam artist. So I can make anybody beautiful. I don't care who you are. Male, female, young, old, hyperpigmentation, bad skin, good skin. My gifting is to create somebody and transform them into the most beautiful thing they could ever be, to the most beautiful them. Like I see people as they would like to be. Like people like, I think I want to look. I'm like, I already know how you want to look. I already know what it's given. I already can see the symmetry of your face and how, you want your jawline to, you want your cheeks to, like, it's more than just putting eyeshadow on. For me, it is symmetry. It's like, I already know what it's given. I already know what the potential is. And I think that, that is what has offered me or afforded me an opportunity to do so many great people for years. Let me just say this, a fun fact about Kim. I was a brown girl artist. So everybody that was the brown girls came to me in Hollywood. So I started off with Omarosa years ago when she was on The Apprentice. And Omarosa was in all these magazines. And we were on Oprah, we were on Jay Leno, all these things. And so all of these brown actors were like, who did your makeup? Because it was rough in LA because brown actresses they just didn't have artists that could really understand the undertone of the chocolate face. And I understood it. I got it, right? I'm like, I got it from here. Just throw me the ball. I got it. I'm gonna shoot a jump shot. We're gonna score. But I started doing Venus and Serena from that point, and then Angela Bassett and Nia Long and all of those pretty brown girls. And that's how doors became open for me. So I found my niche, right? I found my niche. I was able to do something that a lot of artists were afraid to do back then. And that's kind of what allowed me to really, really soar, was to realize and recognize I'm a beauty artist and I'm going to make whatever ethnicity, whatever complexion, whatever deficient, I'm going to make it beautiful. And that's what I strive to do. So if you just say, Kim, I just want my skin to look really beautiful, I really just work on your skin. I love on it. I mean, I do 5 or 6 layers of love on your skin before I even will apply any foundation. So yeah, that's my thing, is beauty. So I really stand by it. I love it. And yeah, I'm sticking beside it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. But so you say you're sticking beside it, but if you weren't doing makeup and in the industry, is there anything else out there that you would be interested in, do you think? Or do you feel like you found your place
I found my place, but I would be doing home decor.
Ooh, yeah.
Home decor. I actually have taken up a green thumb, and I have this really dope garden now that I planted, and it's so gorgeous. I feel like I painted it. Like, it's so gorgeous. Wow. It's beautiful. And so, yeah, I would be doing something in that space. It would either be gardening, I'd own a flower shop, or I probably design homes or do decor. Mm-hmm.
I love it.
What's next for you, Lesley? Tell us what does the Master Barber have next?
So this fall, we're actually expanding the shop. Hopefully we will be able to add more services, reach out to other women in the industry to bring them into our small home. Right now, we're a barbershop of 5 barbers. I hope to at least get to about 8 beauty professionals. And I'm really just gonna put myself out there and see who comes to me. So we may end up with an esthetician. We may end up with, a colorist. I want to see who and what God sends to me, and see what people are bringing to me to make the business better. So it's going to be still, us doing hair and barbering, but we're just going to do it bigger and better.
So, Lesley, this is my last question. I've been waiting to ask you this question the whole day. So, we're in the days now where the bearded man is the trend, right? Yeah. And all of my husband's friends are like in this beard contest, right? They're like, who's gonna grow? Because my husband's bald, but he has a really dope beard. And so he's serious with his beard. Do you apply? Because it's one of his friends who can't grow a beard. Do you do the man beards, like the ones where you can it's kind of like a lace front wig, but it's
so the beard unit? Yes, I do. It's a beard unit. So it's the same as the hair unit that you see people doing all the yes, we do beard units. I don't get a lot of requests for them, but it is something that we do offer.
Let me tell you something, and I mean everything I'm saying. I hear them on their group chat. Men want beards. They want beards. I gotta make sure I send everybody
yes, please.
Your website so that they can get a beard. Tell us how we can get in touch with you. How can we find you? How can my husband get his man beard together, girl? Tell us how to do it.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Lady Clipper, no S at the end. On Facebook, I am Lady Clipper Barber, and our website is theladyclipper.com.
Awesome. So I got to tell them how they can find us too. Here at WinkNPout, we have a full beauty line of products. We sell brushes, foundations, beautiful glosses, some skincare, and we help women to create a fast face with a Hollywood finish. Women can find me on our website at WinkNPout by KimLee.com. That's WinkNPout by Kim Lee. Kim is spelled with a Y. KYMLEE.com, or you can find us on Instagram at WinkNPout, my WinkNPout on Instagram, or the Kim Lee on Instagram. Wow, what a great conversation I was able to have today with you, Lesley. Thank you, Lady Clipper. I love that name, and I love what you stand for, and I love the fact that you do man beards and all kind of things to help our men and our women in the DMV look their best. Thank you so much for this chat.
Thank you, Kim. And I'd like to also thank Mayor Muriel Bowser for the opportunity to participate in 202Creates Masterclass. Be sure to check me out on Entertain DC's YouTube channel. Share and tell your friends.
Hey everyone, be sure to visit 202Creates.com for updates and all things creative.